guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about this book, The Minds Behind the Game. I've been actually reading this for a little bit now and really enjoying it actually. And the one, I've been kind of reading in sections. I started off reading the first, about the first two games, or the whole beginning part, and then I wanted to read about Howard Scott Warshaw's Yars Revenge because, Howard Scott Warshaw, he made three of the best games, I think, in the Atari's life cycle that were like actual classic Atari games. As far as, games like Yars Revenge is what I was kind of reading about. But also he did Raiders of the Lost Ark, which, even though is a tricky game to play, requires two joysticks, and, there's a lot to figure out in that game. It's still quite impressive for when it was released. And, just the idea that the game was able to follow the movie, quite well. And, of course, he also did E.T., which is constantly talked about in the Atari forums and Atari Age, and, people always, you know the story with E.T. But anyways, so those were the games that he created. And the thing I like about it, and what I was reading in this book, because, this book, it's not just Patrick Hickey Jr. is the author, and he's not the one who just kind of rambles on about video games. He actually went and talked to the game developers who created the game. And so in this case, he talked to Howard Scott Warshaw about his experience. And I learned quite a bit, actually. I was quite surprised on just reading this, what Howard went through to create this game, And I always played this on my, on the Atari, and I never thought too much about it. But now that I've actually read this, it's kind of making a lot of sense as to the way this game plays, and, things I just never thought about. Like, the idea that this was the first game to actually have your character be able to go all over the screen. And, I always thought there was something different about this game. And that's it. Because when you play things like Space Invaders, Centipede, there's a lot of games that Astro Smash, when you play these types of games, you're fixed either going left and right, or you can go up and down, but very, very little bit of space. And I always wondered about that. I always wondered why, why would you even bother doing that? I was just playing a game not that long ago. I was playing a game. Which one was it? It was Gorf, and I realized that you can actually go up and down. And I'm like, but it didn't make much sense because it only went up, a couple of centimeters up and then a couple of centimeters down. It didn't really change the dynamics of the game. But in Yars Revenge, it actually makes sense that the character can actually go all over the screen. And the other thing that, and that's what he was saying, Howard was saying, it's like he wanted this game to be different. But they also wanted it to be, this is another thing I didn't know, was about Star Castle, that he was tasked to make a port of Star Castle. And I had to Google that, because I didn't know what that game was. I never heard of it before. So I had to go and look at it, and what he says in the book is pretty much that the game that was on the arcade would have never ported properly over to the Atari. And so he took the elements of that game and created this game. And so that's kind of interesting that, this is what I thought was cool about this book. Like, even the other games that I've read so far, it was quite interesting learning the thoughts behind why they had to create a game a certain way. So anyways, yeah, I thought this is my chance now to play this game again and kind of have some fun with it. And now that I kind of know what the backstory is to it, it's a little bit more interesting. Anyways, let's check out Yars Revenge for the Atari 2600. Okay, so I got Yars Revenge going on there. So we have a little bit of a title screen. Shows the year it was made, 1981. Which, 81's a pretty good year for some of the video games that came out. And that's your Yar. I guess that's what he called it. He's called a Yar. Kind of looks like a fly. There was a comic book also that came with this game, which was also pretty cool. I don't think I have that comic book, but I know it was sold with the game. So the concept here is you got to kill, this is the enemy here, you got to kill him. And This thing here is a little missile. If that touches you, you die. And so to break through the shield, you've got your little bullets that you shoot, or whatever he shoots out of himself. And you pretty much have to break apart the shield. Oops. And then you touch the thing, and then over here you got this little missile thing that you can shoot. And that's the only thing that can kill... Whoops. Killed myself, but you're supposed to get out of the way, as you can see. And so that's the only thing that can kill him. So you can see this game is quite complicated, and it actually talks about that in the book, on how complicated this game is. You know, not overly complex, but there's a lot going on here. And there's a lot of coordination that's required. You know, being able to control yourself all over the screen. You got the safe zone here that will save you from the missile, but it won't save you from that spinning attack thing from your enemy. And then to try and guide your missile and shoot that thing without shooting yourself, which I admit I shoot myself a lot with. Whoa. So you touch the end of the screen, your missile gets ready, and there we go. Now that's quite impressive too, like the just the graphics, the way that the screen blows up like that. So now it's the same thing, except the wall is moving. So as you can see, I touched it, and the wall is moving. So you could just kind of like go and grind away at it. Obviously in that first board, you want to build a little area right in front of it to shoot it, but in this one it's a little bit trickier because it's moving a lot. So, ooh, almost had him there. Just gonna chip away at the wall. Ah, never have been that good at this game. Like I said, there's so much going on. You got to keep track of that missile. You can't just forget the missile, because if you do, you'll run into it, or it will just run into you eventually. And it's hard to stay in the safe zone because you need to really chip away at this thing. The safe zone's good when you're just like, you need to get away from that missile. Okay, we're almost there. Oops. I was going to try and shoot it. Oh no! Came close a few times there. Okay, let's try and line it up. Ah. Yeah, and as you can see, I can go up to the top and then come out at the bottom. Not a lot of games offer that option. Oh, I almost got it. Oh no, I hit the missile. Whoa, that was close. Oh no. Okay, let's do this. Got him. And it's interesting that this is actually code. That's the programming code. And it talks about that in the book as well, which is kind of interesting. Ate that missile. But let's be real, if it wasn't for that missile, this game would be pretty much easy. Oh, come on. I keep hitting the button. Oh. Gotta line up the shot. Luckily, that thing doesn't kill you if it touches you, but... Oh, no. Oh, no. Come on. It's that bloody missile. There, we got him. So now the game pretty much just repeats. Like, it doesn't really there's two stages to the game. Oh no! Come on, you could do it. Did it? Back to this level again. Oh. 21,000 points. That's not much. So as you can see, yeah, I mean, this game is a classic. Everybody knows this game. If you've played the Atari, chances are you probably had this game. And it actually does talk about that here and too, and how this game sold out quite fast, and you know, a lot of people wanted this game. And it even like mentions how Howard himself was, you know, the satisfaction of not only having the creativity to create his game the way he wanted it, but to go through the process of the play testing, and then to get the game out on the shelf. And the most satisfying part for him was actually being able to see people in the store purchasing a game that he created. And, you know, it's funny that while I was reading this part, I was thinking about Patrick himself, and because I've had a few interviews with him, and I know how proud he is of this book. And even in the beginning of the chapter, he talks about how much work and dedication he put into this book. And I even see how proud he is to see that these books are actually being sold on, you know, the shelves, or in the libraries, or they're out in the libraries, or they're on Amazon. So it's really cool that, you know, I found a connection there. Anyways, yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. I'll probably talk about a few other games. And I also have the other book, the second book, so I'm going to be going through that one too. And maybe talk about some of the stuff that I like in there, and play some games again. Anyways, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Throw some comments down there. Like I said, I did a few interviews with Patrick Hickey. So if you're interested in finding out about the author, you can go through my video list and you'll probably find them. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe. Maybe check out the book if you can. Talk to you later.